Huh. Anyway, no points for guessing how these two teams want to play. I'm actually down to Thunderwave Lugia. Because then I can, that can give me an advantage in how quickly I can set up on it, right? And there could be a clutch full para at some point. I'm just going straight for the Cosmic Power. They're going straight for the Calm Mind. No surprise there. For all that some players, including me, worried about Regulation G being kind of stale in its second go-around here, there actually were a lot of interesting teams at the San Antonio Regional Championship. I have already shown the Ice Rider Calyrex team that, of course, was the main story. But looking through the Day 2 standings, there are some interesting Sun teams. There are interesting Rain teams. There's a lot that I'm not even going to get to, probably, before the next event comes up. But this one, I mean, absolutely caught my eye. This team was used to make Day 2 by a player named Timothy Harden. And, I mean, there's some offense here, for sure. There's almost no speed control. There's just the Thunderwave Grimmsnarl. But mostly this is just Cosmic Power, Eternatus, setting up, being extremely difficult to remove, and then teammates sitting around it, covering, supporting it, keeping it healthy, also covering various important restricted matchups. So, I mean, take your pick for what Pokemon jumps out to you most on this team. Eternatus itself is an interesting restricted Pokemon that has had a place in the meta for a long while, but is not generally considered one of the top threats. And I don't think I've tried it yet in Reg G, unless I'm forgetting something. But then there's a Rhydon here, here to just shut down Miraidon teams, I assume, with Lightning Rod, meaning that they can't safely spam electric attacks into its teammates. And of course, giving Rhydon itself, well, it's already immune because it's a ground type, but it'll still be immune after terrestrializing, actually. And with the Terra Fairy, it then can be immune to Draco Meteor from Miraidon. So just about the only common Miraidon attack that will work on this at all is Dazzling Gleam. The electric and dragon attacks completely shut down. And again, it can't even click Electro Drift into a teammate while Rhydon is sitting there on the field with Lightning Rod. Or maybe the Pokemon that most gets your attention is not Ice Rider Calyrex, but just Glastrier, the horse with no rider. Clear Amulet, Glastrier, Terra Water, able to land Icicle Crash and high horsepower into opponents. Still hits very hard, still gets Chilling Neigh, extremely slow, and there's no Trick Room anywhere on this team, but maybe an interesting piece into an opponent's Trick Room, I don't know. But then it also gets Taunt, and I don't know what matchup that's supposed to cover. Maybe we'll figure that out on the fly. Maybe Glastrier is a Trick Romancer of some kind, I really don't know. For the more conventional pieces, you have Grimmsnarl setting up screens, which in combination with Cosmic Power Eternatus makes Eternatus all the harder to break. You also have, like I said, Thunderwave is the only speed control on the whole team. Amoonguss should pair very well with Eternatus. They are both poison types, but of course Amoonguss able to redirect attacks away from Eternatus, keep it healthy with Pollen Puff, and put opponents to sleep. And then you also have Clear Smog to shut down an opponent's setup that might, it might actually enable it to break through Eternatus. Not so much if you land that Clear Smog. And then Moltres, Galarian Moltres, I imagine, is another matchup piece. Eternatus at face value does have some issues with both of the Calyrex horse rider forms being weak to some of the coverage that those Pokemon use and potentially overwhelmed by setup. Terra Dark Eternatus probably helps with that. It could turn off its psychic weakness, turn that into an immunity, and help it take an Astral Barrage better. But Galarian Moltres, I imagine, is also here to help cover those horses, with Foul Play hitting Ice Rider extremely hard, and just being especially bulky Dark type with Fiery Wrath to help it deal with Shadow Rider. So those pieces make a lot of sense to me, all of them including the Rhydon, which, like I said, is definitely an anti-Miraidon tech. So between these two, you have strong answers into most of the most powerful restricted Pokemon. And then I guess Flamethrower Eternatus can help you deal with Zamazenta, or even Amoonguss can. I mean, Zamazenta isn't necessarily the hardest hitting restricted Pokemon. The piece that I'm least clear on in terms of its purpose is the Glastrier. But it's definitely an interesting Pokemon that you don't see too often, just playing the game in its own right, not controlled by a rider. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting team for sure. I'm pretty sure the basic game plan is get Eternatus in early, try to set it up, and just not let opponents KO it. and you bring the matchup pieces as suits the restricted matchup that you get. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll get some more insight as I actually play some games with this very interesting team. Right away, we have a Kyogre matchup, and I'm not necessarily sure how to handle that. It's Kyogre with Chien-Pao, too, so they can actually put a fair bit of offensive pressure out into Eternatus. But I think we still bring it, for sure. I think we still lead Eternatus Grimmsnarl. We bring a Moongus. That can help deal with the Kyogre and help keep Eternatus healthy. I am still a little bit worried about the Chien-Pao. And I kind of wonder whether it's worth bringing Glastrier to help deal with that. Glastrier also is a little bit of an offensive check to these two floaty guys, and it could come in handy if they set Trick Room with the Farigiraf, although I'm not sure they would do that in this matchup. But you know what? I said that I don't know what Glastrier is here for. Let's bring it to a game and see if it does something. So right away we get Tornadus and Kyogre leading. I think I'm down to just click Light Screen and Cosmic Power. They're not threatening a Fake Out with anything. They could taunt Eternatus, which would not be ideal. And I could think about the Terra Dark to cover for that, but I think it's too early to commit that hard to the Terra. I think Terra Dark Eternatus might be worthwhile anyway with the Chien-Pao potentially in the back, but then into the Urshifu, maybe not so much. I think that's something we think about for later, but this turn I think we just click Cosmic Power, and they'll probably set up Tailwind or something, right? So we'll just Cosmic Power and Light Screen. It's Terra Water Kyogre. They are just trying to blast us immediately with that Water Spout, and it does knock out Grimmsnarl, which maybe isn't great. I might have wanted the Thunder Wave later in this game, but Eternatus does get a Cosmic Power up. I can go Moongus here. I might want to Terra Water a Moongus, actually. Take a Bleak Wind Storm better, and I can threaten the Spore into Kyogre. Eternatus doesn't have Protect. Didn't really register that earlier, but I can click Recover here, and as long as they don't crit, we should be fine. And I will just Spore to Kyogre. It's already shown that it's not Terra Grass. They taunt Eternatus, so I don't get the Recover. I also forgot to Terrasilize. I straight up forgot to Terrasilize a Moongus there, but it turned out fine. I do think I want to Terrasilize a Moongus now, because I don't think I want to switch it out. I think I want to side Pollen Puff immediately. And I'll just go for a Sludge Bomb into the Kyogre slot, weaken that Water Spout for the rest of the game. But yeah, I need to get Eternatus healthy somehow, and since I just straight up forgot to Terrasilize a Moongus 2 turns in a row. Okay, we're off to a great start here. Well, you know what? That means I can Terrasilize Glastrier and give it some cover for the Water Spout. Yeah, we'll double into Tornadus here. Eternatus taking another Bleak Wind Storm, but not this Water Spout. Okay, I just played this completely sloppily, but you get a Chilling Neigh here. Doesn't matter. They've got enough offensive pressure to handle this horse. All right, hopefully that gets that out of my system, and I can play properly next. Multiple instances where I could have used my Terra, and I just didn't actually click on the button. Okay, we got a Zacian Regidrago team. This kind of looks like one that also did well in San Antonio, and I might want to try out soon. Eternatus is very weak to Regidrago, so that's actually a bit of an issue. And if I Terra Dark, I don't remember whether this Zacian has Play Rough or not. This actually looks like a really bad Eternatus matchup. But what else have I got? Glastrier, Rhydon. I mean, I'm just going to do what I know with this team, which is these three. Maybe Moltres can help me cover Zacian. I mean, Zacian, if it's running Play Rough, it has coverage for all of these. Moltres might be able to take a hit from Regidrago. So might Fairy Rhydon. But yeah, that's fine. I'll bring Moltres. I really was thinking about Glastrier for a second there, but yeah, this is worth a shot, I think. If I'd landed that side Pollen Puff last game, might have been able to grind that out. But yeah, letting Eternatus get taunted is pretty rough, and that's, I guess, why it's running Terra Dark. Okay, they're putting out a ton of pressure onto Eternatus immediately here. I actually think I kind of want to just click Spirit Break into Regidrago. The risk is that they Behemoth Blade Grimmsnarl before I get the attack off. So it's probably better to... I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to YOLO this, and I'll try to Terra Dark immediately and Flamethrower Zacian. They do knock out Grimmsnarl. I don't get my Spirit Break. And I don't get any damage or paralysis into Regidrago, and they crit Eternatus. How does this team win games? I mean, not that I'm playing it well, but... what are the good matchups? Maybe this Solgaleo here. Actually, that might be kind of a reasonable matchup, yeah. Tinglu Dondozo. No Tatsugiri. Moltres is honestly probably helpful into Solgaleo. I don't really see a specific case for Glastrier or Rhydon here, so I'll bring Moltres. Single Striker Shifu. Of course, that can crit through Cosmic Power. I do have the Terra Dark. I don't necessarily want to use it in front of Iron Valiant. I think I might want to... I think we... we definitely reflect first. As much as I'd like to Spirit Break this or Shifu, I think we're learning some lessons here. I'll go for a Sludge... okay, good thing I didn't Spirit Break. I'll go for a Sludge Bomb to try to remove the Iron Valiant. That Wicked Blow does so much immediately. I don't know how you get Eternatus set up in this meta. Full Metal Body works like Clear Body, right? So I can paralyze Solgaleo. But then what? I think I'm down to do it. Or I could paralyze Urshifu. It's not a dark type anymore. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, and I'm going to Terrasilize and try to recover. I think that's the best way for Eternatus to still matter to this game. Sunsteel Strike Grimmsnarl, but it doesn't KO. The Wicked Blow still does a lot of damage, but... I mean, the bigger worry is they can close combat now. I think I'm going to double into her Shifu this turn. Spirit Break to try to get past a possible Focus Sash, and not Sludge Bomb because it's a poison type. Can I do that, or do I have to recover? I'm just going to try it. Yeah, that doesn't do enough damage. Never mind. I did need to recover. I can't get a single win with this team so far. And they're not even close games. Volpera? Oh, nice, flinch. Okay. Alright, that's something. Maybe Moltres could still win this, but I wouldn't bet on it. But honestly, you know what? We removed the Urshifu. The Solgaleo is weakened. It's still asleep. They forfeit. We actually got a win. Eternatus didn't do squat in this game, but... hey, win's a win. Let's keep this going. Ah, oh, man, what is this team? They reject open team sheets immediately. I don't know if I want to play this, but... maybe this is the Glastrier matchup. Strong ice coverage into Eternatus and Tinglu. I think we also think twice about bringing Grimmsnarl to this one. I think I'm going to lead Eternatus Glastrier, actually. Have that offensive threat while I try to get set up and not let them get set up. I don't know. Seems worth a shot. I'll bring a Mungus. Maybe I do still bring Grimmsnarl, because who else? Moltres? Sure. Okay. Garganackle, Tinglu lead. They can Salt Cure me. I hate when they can do that. I'm willing to throw Moltres' life away on that. And let's just try to Icicle Crash this Tinglu. I go for Sand Tomb. Moltres is immune. Icicle Crash does a little more than half. That's something. Not immune to the Salt Cure, of course. Just Fiery Wrath and try to cheese a flinch or something. Get the Tinglu out of there. Salt Cure Glastrier. Try to wear this Garganackle down. Okay, it flinches. Nice. Unfortunately, it resists Eternatus' attacks, so I don't have anything strong to click into it. Other than this high horsepower right here. Ah, they switch it out. Well, we'll chip Tinglu at least. I am letting my Pokemon take a lot of Salt Cure damage, but I think I'm just trying to do what damage I can with them. And then try to win with... I'll go Amoonguss here, preserve Moltres, try to get rid of this Tinglu, try to win with Eternatus somehow. If I land... Ah, never mind. They knock Glastrier out. Get Eternatus in here. I'm just going to go straight for a Spore into Dondozo and a Flamethrower into Tinglu, but I wouldn't bet it KOs. Oh, it does. Nice. Okay. They have to show Yawn. Dondozo will take a nap first. There's the Garg. Kind of stuck for what to do. I guess I'll just side Pollen Puff and try to get Moltres in here. But I'm not sure how I beat the Garg at this point. I do actually get to heal Moltres. So that much is nice. Keep going for that Fiery Wrath, I guess, but if it has Recover, which it probably does, I don't know how I ever beat it. A bunch of luck, I guess. Citrus Berry. Salt Cure Amoonguss. I can think about clicking another Spore into the Dondozo at this point, and then I can think about switching Eternatus in. But for what? I'm not sure. To what end, I mean? Like, what do I accomplish by doing that? I'm not sure. There's the Yondozo. What a nightmare. This feels like a better version of the team that I'm using, but I don't know how someone made day 2 with this. This team is crazy. I don't see how I ever beat the Garganackle. I'm not playing it out. But this is a really short video if I stop here, so we'll keep going for now. It's another Regidrago Zacian matchup. This is just Grant Weldon's team. This is what I took to NAIC last year. At least I know the team well, but not how to beat it with this. Well, I could probably play the Grimmsnarl better turn 1 this time. If it is Grant Weldon's team, this Zacian probably doesn't... Did his Zacian have Play Rough? Behemoth Blade, Terra Blast, Protect. I don't think it had Play Rough, but I can't think of what the last move is. I have this team in-game, but I'm not going to go to the other room and get my Switch right now to investigate. What I am going to do is bring Amoonguss and Moltres. I'm probably going to use this team. This is recorded before the January Grand Challenge. I'm probably going to use this team in that because I have it built in-game, and that's more than I can say for any other Reg G team. Guess I need to brush up on some details. It should be Choice Scarf Chi-Yu. Can't Thunderwave it. I can Light Screen. I can Terra Dark. I might want to anyway. We'll see what they click. They click Spore. Snarl. Snarl. Not good. How does this Eternatus win games? It has almost no speed control. It has nothing to cover for something like this Snarl. Is this team meant to play to timer or something? What on earth? Okay. We'll go Reflect here. We'll just try to get through this sleep. Put Grimmsnarl to sleep. That's bad because I'd really like to... This would actually be a good chance to Spirit Break Regidrago. I will go ahead and Terrasilize Eternatus, and I'll go for Sludge Bomb here. Nice. If I can Poison Regidrago... Actually, that's even not bad chip without a Poison. They crit Eternatus. Okay, and of course it is Life Orb Regidrago, so it's already down to half. I think I just click Recover here. Yeah. Doing more lasting damage to their own Regidrago than to me, so that's a bit of a relief, I guess. Honestly, I think I'm down to Thunderwave the Amoonguss and maybe cheese it with some full paras. If Grimmsnarl wakes up, which this turn it doesn't, they could try a Draco Meteor into Eternatus. Does decent damage, but now they're taking the drop as well as Life Orb Chip. I'm still down to Thunderwave this Amoonguss. Okay, we miss. It is that kind of video, I guess. But hey, Eternatus is back at full HP and asleep. What can you do? We'll go for a Spirit Break into Regidrago. No, you know what? I'm actually better off with Regidrago staying on the field right now. We stick to Thunderwaving Amoonguss. There's the Zacian. Grimmsnarl takes a nap. I might want to switch Grimmsnarl out at this point to what? Amoonguss? I think that's actually pretty reasonable. I can start trying to Flamethrower Zacian. They can redirect that if they want. Ah, there's a full para. Oh, Sacred Sword is what it has, right. Okay, well, maybe I should have remembered that before I clicked Terra Dark. But I do have Rage Powder on the board now. So we can get some recovery, at least with the leftovers on Eternatus, while we keep trying to Flamethrower this Zacian. Light Screen is gone, but I have preserved Grimmsnarl on the back. Here's the Chi-Yu. That Pokemon's kind of a problem. Can't Terrasilize Amoonguss. I don't know what Moltres does here. I think I'm just going to try to Spore Zacian and hope that they miss a Heat Wave or something. They Flamethrower. Okay. Alright, well. I don't see a way to beat Zacian now. Foul Play should actually hit it reasonably hard, though. Because it's a Zacian. Even though it resists, it has that crazy attack stat and a boost. And we'll get... Oh, well, we'll get Berserk here. That doesn't actually help. So I clicked Foul Play. And it did about half, and now we will go ahead and lose. How did this team get to day 2? Usually, in this situation, I think player diff. And okay, this is obviously player diff, because this is someone... You know, the player who got to day 2 with this is really familiar with this team and knows its game plans in and out. That's the only explanation, or the only reasonable one. But usually I say, oh, it's player diff. This is definitely a good team. I just am not familiar with it. Don't really know how to use it. This has not felt like a good team to me. I'm not going to lie. Congratulations to Timothy Harden, because you must have unlocked some deep universal truth here. I do not understand how you did what you did with this. We're down on the low ladder now. We're facing a Ho-Oh team. Let's just spam this mode until it eventually works. I'll bring Moltres because I can click Foul Play into the Ho-Oh. And the Annihilate. And the Ogre Pawn. Alright, Annihilate, Ogre Pawn. Are they just trying to set up bulk up stuff? Because honestly, I can live with that. If I just Reflect and Cosmic Power. Oh! Okay. Alright. Sure. And the Ogre Pawn is faster than Eternatus. I would like to Thunder Wave it here, but I can't because they've switched to Rhydon. So that'll just redirect the Thunder Wave with Lightning Rod. What I can do is switch Amoonguss in. But since I don't have Protect on Eternatus, I probably have to do that in the Eternatus slot. But I can try to get to a position where I can side Pollen Puff or even just Rage Powder next to Eternatus. So yeah, I am throwing away the one Cosmic Power boost I've gotten so far, but actually I can just Rage Powder now to get Eternatus in safely. It's not like Grimmsnarl is doing much in this position. There's the Ho-Oh. I can think about Terrestrializing Amoonguss. Of course, it doesn't then take a Horn Leech super well. But I think it might be worthwhile. Recover, Terra Water, Rage Powder. And we can offset all that final Gambit damage and get Eternatus ready to go again. So I guess this is the kind of situation where this team works, but this is probably the least standard team I've... Oh yeah, you can't Rage Powder or Grass. Well, whatever. Eternatus resists that. This is probably the least standard team I've faced in this video, and against the bigger offensive threats of Reg G. Let's see if they let me put Ho-Oh to sleep. Thought they might have clicked follow me with Ogre Pawn, but nope. Yeah, I don't know how this team keeps up. It hasn't been in my attempts to use it so far. Now I can get some recovery on both of these Pokemon like this. Since the Rhydon is off the field, Thunder Wave into Ogre Pawn is back on the table. It does kind of feel like I'm at least close enough to locking an opponent down like this team probably wants to do, but like I said, had to face kind of a dubious team on the other side to be able to pull this off. Now I can Thunder Wave Ogre Pawn, unless the Rhydon switches in, but even then it's not the end of the world. Ogre Pawn is at least not an offensive threat into Eternatus to any significant extent. Cornerstone Mask Ogre Pawn might be, but not Wellspring. Even that Brave Bird didn't do too much, and now I can Thunder Wave Ho-Oh. See, this feels more like how this team is supposed to work. But yeah, pulling this off in at least 6 best-of-3 sets in a regional. I feel like I'm being more negative in this video than I usually am, but obviously huge props to Timothy Harden for making day 2 with this team. Clearly, like I said, they understand it on a much deeper level than I do. And it is very cool to see something unorthodox like this have that kind of success. It's just breaking my brain trying to crack how. And usually I chalk that up to my limitations as a player, but in this case, I think it's just a player found an unusual team that they especially know how to pilot really well. And that would not probably work so well for most people, which is really cool to see. Anyway, I can get Moltres in here and start clicking Foul Play. Ideally, Moltres will not be burned by a Sacred Fire, but I think Eternatus wins from here anyway, so it should be fine. Actually, the Rhydon resists Eternatus' attacks, and I can't and threatens high horsepower back, and I can't Terrasilize Eternatus. But I'm already at +6 or +4 defense, about to go to +5, so we can probably still beat Rhydon, even if I throw away Moltres here. Okay, nice chip, nice Volpera. They Brave Bird Eternatus instead of Sacred Firing Moltres, so we can threaten a Foul Play KO now. And if Ho-Oh switches out, Foul Play should do good damage to Rhydon. We get Eternatus +6. They do just let us knock Ho-Oh out. And this is more like it, right? We got the paras on both of these Pokemon. Amoonguss was able to give Eternatus enough cover that even after it took a lot of damage early on, it could get healthy. Now I can Sludge Bomb Ogerpon, and I think I'm down to just Fiery Wrath. Yeah, Ogerpon drops. Rhydon gets off a high horsepower, but not doing much at this point, and we can just Sludge Bomb, Fiery Wrath. Yeah, Moltres doesn't get defensive setup, but it's bulky and able to just sit here and use the opponent's attack stat against them. So this feels more like the way that this team is meant to play. I haven't hit a Miraidon yet, so I haven't brought Rhydon to a game. I don't necessarily know what Glastrier does. I actually kind of want to keep playing until I see a Miraidon matchup, but if that takes a long time, maybe I'll reconsider. But yeah, that felt more like it. I just am still mind blown that someone pulled this off at a regional. Okay, Shadow Rider Calyrex. I mean, it's your typical Calyrex balance. This definitely feels like the kind of matchup that Galarian Moltres is for. Able to threaten Calyrex itself, and Rillaboom, and Farigiraf. Depending on how I play it, it might not even be that afraid of Raging Bolt. I also could bring Rhydon to help deal with the Raging Bolt, now that I think of it. But, okay, I can't bring all of... I want to bring every Pokemon except Glastrier, but I can't do that. I have to leave one behind. I think Grimmsnarl is actually pretty good here. It threatens Spirit Break into most of this team. Screens are nice for outlasting balance. I think Rhydon might be the odd mon out here. As helpful as it can be into the Raging Bolt, I don't see it doing a whole lot into the rest of this team. So we'll try this mode again. Yeah, we're blown way past the stop playing when I hit 3 losses. I'll maybe give it up to an hour or so and stop if I hit a Miraidon, but that's what I'm hoping for at this point because I'd like to see what the Rhydon can do. I kind of want to just Thunder Wave Calyrex immediately. And switch Eternatus out to Moltres to cover for a Psyshock or something. I mean, this looks like Wolfglick's World's team. So, I don't know that I have a way to cover every possible way they can attack Eternatus here. So I think I like this play instead. Yeah, Terra Water Calyrex, that looks like some Wolfglick stuff, alright. Full para, nice. I'm going to Thunder Wave the other slot. Obviously, it won't work if Incineroar, Farigiraf, or Raging Bolt switches in. Paralyzing the Urshifu would be nice. And I'll just try to get some damage with Fiery Wrath here, I think. Maybe I'd be better off setting a screen. Even then, though, I'm not sure which one. Probably Light Screen, but... Okay, they switched the other slot. They keep Urshifu on the field, but they will detect around the Thunder Wave. But... honestly, I can think about Terrastalizing Moltres in this game. That does make it a bit weaker to Urshifu. I think I will go for the Light Screen here to help deal with the Raging Bolt. And I'm actually down to switch Moltres out to Amoonguss. They don't have a great offensive threat into it on the field right now, and I can look in the slightly longer term to position Eternatus properly here. Okay, yeah. Good thing I didn't click Thunder Wave, as they have like redundant immunities into that right now. The Light Screen coming through pretty nicely here. I can go Reflect next. And I can even think about a Spore into the Raging Bolt slot. Maybe I don't want that because the Farigiraf could try something. I could just pivot back to Moltres, actually. I think I do like that here. Get my Reflect. Although putting Raging Bolt to sleep would have been nice. We do avoid that Psychic. Now I can get Eternatus in without taking any damage. And click Cosmic Power. And get a Moongus in next to it. And hopefully we're set up from there to get Eternatus going. There's Trick Room, but I have a Moongus, so I can pretty freely Spore the Raging Bolt slot now. Farigiraf is threatening a Psychic into either of these Pokemon, but if I just focus on getting Eternatus set up, I also could think about Terastallizing Eternatus. I'm not necessarily eager to do that when the Urshifu is still at full HP in the back. But actually, them setting up Spore as I switch to Moongus in kind of puts me in the driver's seat for right now. Now that Raging Bolt is asleep, I could even think about Terastallizing a Moongus. I do want to get rid of this Raging Bolt if I can. I can Spore the Farigiraf, so I don't have to worry about the Psychic in the immediate term. And this might be the game where I actually started to figure it out, right? I switched around a lot early game. I did lead Eternatus again, but I put some more care into how I positioned it. Okay, that's an unfortunate time for them to wake up, but Eternatus being at +2 already doesn't take that too badly. Yeah. Yeah, and so I managed to get Eternatus set up in the mid game. The middle game. And that does feel a lot stronger than what I was doing earlier. So maybe I just need a few more games to start to figure this team out, but I'm still really impressed that someone made a day 2 with it. That I don't think is changing by the end of this video. Okay, there's the Calyrex. It can Psyshock. This might be where I want to Terra Dark Eternatus and just hope that I have enough in the back to beat the Urshifu. Or, actually in this position, I can even go for another Cosmic Power. Get some recovery on a Moongus. And the idea here is to be able to take a close combat when that shows up. Nice! The Terra Dark shuts down both of their attacks. We get some more boosts on Eternatus. I should get a pretty easy Cosmic Power again right now. I can start clicking Fiery Wrath. If they switch to Urshifu, I can chip it on the switch in. Another full pair on the Calyrex is very good for me. That Hyper Voice isn't doing too much at this point. They do get their Throat Spray. It is definitely Wolf Glick's team, but I think we knew that by now. I'm just trying to get Eternatus fully set up here so that it can... so that Urshifu in the late game won't be able to break it. Astral Barrage is definitely not doing much to these beefy dark types. Hyper Voice critting Eternatus is kind of bad news, but they gave Moltres Berserk, and with Calyrex paralyzed, Eternatus is still the fastest Pokemon on the field. I can just click Recover here and get a couple KOs with Fiery Wrath, or... no, it won't KO Calyrex, but it will KO Farigiraf if they let it. Okay, Protect is fine. Another full pair on Calyrex is pretty unfortunate for them. And we do actually knock it out with the Fiery Wrath. What are... there's some interesting rolls. Okay. Now the Urshifu is in. So it's the moment of truth. Sludge Bomb, Fiery Wrath. Good damage onto Urshifu, and we poison it, so that should do it. They close combat Moltres instead of Eternatus, so they do get rid of Moltres, but... I mean, I can just get a Moongus in here, and I can just Sludge Bomb Farigiraf and Rage Powder. I don't think they can beat that. Because Urshifu will drop to poison damage. And it just doesn't have a way to KO a Moongus. Eternatus will KO Farigiraf before Farigiraf can use Psychic. Yeah, that close combat is not doing much. And Urshifu actually drops the Rocky Helmet damage, not even poison. So look at that, you know, all my grumbling about how hard this team was to use, and I just beat Wolf Glick. 2024 Worlds team. So I'm getting a little bit better with it, at least. I'm starting to see the vision a little more. I still would like to hit a Miraidon before this is over. Instead, we get this Lugia Comfey stuff. Does that just counter team me? I still don't like that I'm asking that question every time I see a new matchup. Is Lugia setup just a better version of this Eternatus setup? How do I beat Lugia? I have Grimmsnarl. I have Glastrier, at least until it goes Terra Fairy, and then maybe I can poison it with Eternatus. I think this might be a game where I want to bring Glastrier instead of Moltres. There's definitely a case for Moltres into some of these Pokemon, but I like the... Well, Moltres could be an offensive threat into Lugia too. But not so much once Lugia gets some Calm Minds up, unless I crit it with a Fiery Wrath. That doesn't seem like much of a win con. So I think I do bring Glastrier to this one. And I think I try to aggressively set up Eternatus, because the one advantage I have against Lugia is that Lugia doesn't have very good offensive stats. And so if I can get Eternatus boosted, then yeah, it should be somewhat tricky for Lugia to break, especially since they don't generally run Psychic Stab. Aeroblast has that boosted crit chance, though. That's a problem. Anyway. No points for guessing how these two teams want to play. I'm actually down to Thunderwave Lugia. Because then I can, that can give me an advantage in how quickly I can set up on it, right? And there could be a clutch full para at some point. I'm just going straight for the Cosmic Power. They're going straight for the Calm Mind. No surprise there. I'll get my own light screen here and keep clicking Cosmic Power. Excuse me. If my nose is getting a little... Oh, they have Taunt on Grimmsnarl. Okay, well... Oh, and I can't poison Lugia now that I've paralyzed it. That's a little bit unfortunate. What I can do is click Sludge Bomb into Grimmsnarl while Eternatus is taunted. It just KOs with a crit. Nice. Covert Cloak Lugia, so I can't get it with Spirit Break drops. A little bit unfortunate for me. I can Spirit Break and Sludge Bomb into Comfey, try to remove that. It protects this turn. What does Lugia do? Earth Power into Eternatus. It's not too terribly much damage now that the taunt is ending. I still want to... You know what? It's not that important to remove the Comfey right now, actually. Comfey is a little bit passive. So I think I'm better off spamming... I will Thunderwave the Comfey, but I think I'm better off spamming Cosmic Power while I can. Try to get to +6, because Lugia definitely has a lead in the setup game now that Eternatus has been taunted for a while. And this might be where a full para comes through for me, right? I might as well set Reflect while there's not much downside to it. But yeah, full para on the Lugia would be good to help me get caught up in the setup game. We're only one behind right now, though. Of course, I have to worry about an Earth Power crit, but what can you do? The good news is Multiscale is just staying broken so far because it doesn't... I thought the Lugia would have leftovers, but with Covert Cloak instead, I could maybe even think about getting Glastrier in. But maybe I want to remove Comfey before I try to do that. We'll start chipping Comfey here and weakening its Draining Kiss. Probably want to recover with Eternatus. They got Trick Room up. That is tricky because Lugia will go before Eternatus now, but we should still be able to survive and recover. I still have Light Screen up. Let's go for another Spirit Break into Comfey and a recover. Comfey protects. Aeroblast, thankfully doesn't crit. I probably should be playing more safely around that boosted crit rate. But I want to keep getting my Cosmic Power going here. I want to get to +6. I even might be able at this point to do that before Lugia does. And yeah, we're also fishing for those full paras. Which feels a little hacksy, but when we're both playing such slow game plans and playing out this many turns, that's going to happen sometimes. And that's part of the point of me clicking Thunderwave when I did. I actually should get my light screen back up here. This will get now I can unless I get a super turbo crit, I can get Eternatus to +6 here. I actually might want to think about terastallizing. The reason I haven't done that is obviously Comfey and possible Mienshao in the back. And even Volcarona, actually. But yeah, I'm a little bit vulnerable to an Earth Power crit because I'm not terastallizing. I just think that there are too many exploitable weaknesses with the Terra to feel comfortable with that right now. I'm going to go for a Recover here, and I can think about Sludge Bombing Comfey next. If I remove that Pokemon, then I can think about using Glastrier to offensively threaten Lugia. I actually... Oh, never mind. Comfey has a Citrus Berry. I was going to say Grimmsnarl might be able to just KO it, but... No, we can definitely think here about Sludge Bombing Comfey. Okay, it protects. Pair on the Lugia. I'm actually going to switch Glastrier in now with the goal of threatening that Icicle Crash as soon as Comfey is off the board, assuming this Sludge Bomb knocks it out, and it does. Lugia gets the +6, but it's paralyzed in front of Icicle Crash Mon. Protect Glastrier this turn, and I'm just going to go for a Sludge Bomb into Mienshao. Yeah, that close combat, or even a Fake Out possibly, was pretty well telegraphed. I could pivot Glastrier out, get around the Mienshao if I needed to because of the Focus Sash, but we do get the Lucky Poison there, and so now I'll just Icicle Crash and Sludge Bomb. Try to break through this Lugia on the defensive side that it hasn't boosted. That is lucky timing for a full para. But again, that's the kind of out that I'm playing to when I prioritize that Thunder Wave in the early game. And for all my worrying, when I saw the Lugia pop up on the screen, we did break through this team pretty nicely here. So Eternatus set up, making its case that it's the stronger one. Maybe that's too much, though. Maybe that's overstating it. We got a Zamazenta team. Chien-Pao once again really worries me. But Grimmsnarl might be able to help into it. Whoops. Or honestly, yeah, Moltres too. I think these are the Pokemon, but I don't necessarily know the game plan. We can do open team sheets, that's fine. Might be nice to know Zamazenta's Terra type, which is Grass, and that it doesn't have Iron Defense. Yeah, I think I'll cut this video off at an hour if I haven't seen a Miraidon. Sometimes the ladder just doesn't deliver. But I am glad I didn't stop early on when I lost like 3 of the first 4 games, because things have turned around a bit. But it definitely feels like some matchups I can handle with this team, and some matchups are just nightmares. Beating Wolf Glick's team was definitely fun, though. Okay, Amoonguss, Zamazenta. The good news is Zamazenta is not really threatening much damage into Eternatus, is it? Because we resist Body Press. And I don't know the relative weights of Zamazenta and Eternatus, but they both seem very heavy to me, I would think. I'm just going to go for Reflect and Cosmic Power, and I don't think I'm too bothered if Eternatus takes a nap. Although, that might make it tricky if they get the Chien-Pao in or something. Okay. I can Thunder Wave Zamazenta, or I can Light Screen. Their only special attacker is Raging Bolt, but that is a good one. Is that right? Yeah, it's Choice Band Dragonite. Of course it is on this Chien-Pao team. Thunder Wave Zamazenta or Light Screen. I actually think I want to Thunder Wave Zamazenta. See if they let me. No. They redirect it. Okay. Well, you never know when a full para on Amoonguss might come in handy. I can get my own Amoonguss in here to threaten a Spore into anything on this side, because they can't redirect it with their Amoonguss, and they don't have that available on the back to switch in. Do they have safety goggles on anything? Nope. So yeah, anything on... Well, they could Terra Grass Zamazenta, but then that makes it weak to Sludge Bomb, so I think we take that too. And Eternatus will just try to wake up and keep boosting. It's definitely this kind of game plan at this point. Get Chen Pao in on that side. Protect Zamazenta. Okay, so that's good positioning by them. I can Terra Water Amoonguss, though. Maybe that's just delaying the inevitable, but honestly, I think it's worth a shot. And if I can land Flamethrower and Pollen Puff into Chen Pao... No, I need to Rage Powder. Right? And not having Protect on Eternatus really does make this more difficult sometimes. We Sludge Bomb Chen Pao. Obviously, this whole plan relies on Eternatus waking up, which is not guaranteed, I think. But yeah, Sludge Bomb Chen Pao, because then there's a chance to poison it and KO through the Focus Sash. Okay, Ice Spinner. Very good. Oh, and I keep forgetting this Amoonguss has Rocky Helmet. So we break the Sash anyway. However, we do not wake Eternatus up, but that's okay. The Zamazenta has Terastallized. That's probably favorable for me. Eternatus will wake up here. It's probably favorable for me because it's vulnerable to Eternatus, and they can't use their Terra anywhere else now. Kind of want to get Amoonguss out of here. The problem is if the Chen Pao comes back. So I think what I'll do is just... I can even clear Smog the Zamazenta and take away their Dauntless Shield boost. And I'll just Flamethrower this slot again. Or can Sludge Bomb. There's Flamethrower. In case they try to do a tricky switch. Now I probably have to think about getting Amoonguss out of here. But we'll see what comes in. Definitely have to think about the game in a different way from how I usually do with this team. But I do feel like I'm getting a little bit better with it. It's the Chen Pao, so we always Rage Powder in front of this, I think. Wait. Body Press can KO Amoonguss, so they can protect Chen Pao and just do that. Alright, it's a little bit risky, but I'm going to switch Amoonguss out and try to knock out the Chen Pao. It does open up Eternatus to a possible attack. Okay. Maybe I should have knocked out Zamazenta there if I thought the Chen Pao was going to protect. That, I think, just strictly would have made more sense. Oh well. Maybe I can get rid of it here. But I think I did mess up slightly there. Although, I don't know. I still don't know what their Pokemon in the back is. It could be like Dragonite, and then maybe I'm in a really tough position from there. They do double into Moltres, which I was all for sacking here, because Amoonguss is safer now. Or, yeah, Amoonguss is better able to do his job. It is Dragonite in the back. But I think I just click Spore into that slot. I don't know if Amoonguss will survive long enough to execute the move, but I'm in a very good position if it does, because I can Sludge Bomb Zamazenta. And if they let me have that, then Dragonite is the only one left. So putting it to sleep would be very strong here. I don't know if they'll let Amoonguss do that. Of course, if they attack Amoonguss, then maybe I get some Rocky Helmet chip, and that comes in handy too. Okay, Body Press into Eternatus kind of feels like the worst thing they could have done there. Don't know what that was for. Ah, they Outrage! Oh no, Eternatus drops to the Choice Bandit Outrage, and I don't think Amoonguss is going to be close. You know what? You never know. We could Hax them. I think we play this out for sure. Alright, it's Inner Focus Dragonite, so no multi-scale. Clear Smog just does 15%, but they wake up quickly and they knock out Amoonguss with the Outrage. Well, can't say I didn't try. I might only have time for one more game before my cutoff that I set. Let's see if it's a Miraidon matchup. It is a Miraidon matchup, but what a Miraidon matchup it is. They brought the Sneasler. And wait, the Sneasler actually could be a serious problem for this team, right? Direclaw kind of just goes to town on this Eternatus team. At least Eternatus can't be poisoned, but honestly, maybe I hope for a Direclaw Para. as an alternative to sleep. I don't know. Another Chen Pao too. Chen Pao is an issue. But yeah, I think this is the time to see what Rhydon can do. I haven't brought it to a game yet. What are its moves? Fairy, Terror Blast, Rock Slide, High Horsepower. That actually could be strong here into Miraidon, Chen Pao, and Dragonite. I don't know what the Whimsicott's going to have, and they're not going to let me know, which is fine. I think I'm going to bring... I think I'm going to lead Grimmsnarl, Eternatus with a Moongus and Rhydon in the back. And if I see a Miraidon lead, maybe I should have... Maybe it was actually correct to lead Rhydon, because then I could Terrasilize immediately. Oh well. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I think the Sneasler might ruin the whole idea. Okay, Dire Claw to Rhydon, no status, they just Draco Meteor Eternatus immediately. How do you cover for that with this team? Have Grimmsnarl all the back to switch in. Okay, I think I needed to lead Miraidon into Rhydon. Reverse those names, you know what I mean. So all that time waiting for a Rhydon game, and I just completely goofed up the plan, but is what it is. Okay, we'll get a Fairy Terror Blast into Dragonite, so that's fun. It redirects your own Thunder Wave. I forgot that it redirects a teammate's move. I tried to Thunder Wave the Sneasler so it can't Dire Claw Rhydon, and yeah, that didn't work out. We did get a pretty hype KO into the Dragonite, though. Now the Sneasler is the priority to remove. Let's Reflect and High Horsepower that slot. Dire Claw doesn't do too much to Eviolite Rhydon. It does unfortunately get the poison, and then Miraidon is taking KOs with Dazzling Gleam. Okay, that one I think is player error. I just didn't play the Miraidon matchup correctly. I think I needed to lead Rhydon into this. You know what? We're not at an hour yet. I'll get one more game. And if it's Miraidon, I'll get one more chance to figure that mode out. It is Miraidon. Let's go. Rhydon, Eternatus, Grimmsnarl to switch in on a possible Draco Meteor. Do I want a Moongus? I kind of just picked a Moongus without thinking last game. I mean, I do like the Pollen Puff option and the Grass Resistance, or excuse me, the Electric Resistance. The Grass Resistance too, but not into this team. I actually think Moltres might be more valuable here. Let's try not bringing a Moongus this time. Okay, this time we're leading Rhydon into the Miraidon matchup, and no matter what, this is definitely the last game of the video. This has gone on longer than I anticipated, but I'm having fun, and I am figuring this team out a little bit better as I go. I'm starting to see how if someone really mastered this team, they could go on a deep tournament run with it, but again, huge congrats to Timothy Harden for actually pulling that off. Okay, Ogerpon and Urshifu. Not really what I want to see here, but they don't especially threaten Rhydon, do they? I can even think about switching Rhydon out here. Does again make the Terrestrialization positioning a little bit tricky, but switching Rhydon out to Galarian Moltres. Don't think it's the end of the world if I stack that. And I feel pretty safe to just click a Cosmic Power here. Yeah. Surging Strikes doesn't do too much. Ivy Cudgel does a bit more, but less than half combined. There is that Ivy Cudgel crit rate to worry about, but let's honestly just go straight for a foul play into this boosted Ogerpon. And recover. I could click another Cosmic Power. Feels a little bit greedy in this position. And now I'm still worried about the Draco Meteor. Honestly, maybe I switch both of my Pokemon this turn. But what is Grimmsnarl? I know I can't click Thunder Wave next to Rhydon. I was starting to get that idea again. I've learned my lesson, I promise. Okay, what I'm going to do is... I'm just worried about the Ogre Pawn being an offensive threat on the next turn if I switch Rhydon in here. Alright, I'm going to switch Rhydon in and just click Recover and hope they don't knock me out with a Draco Meteor, but that's probably not the best plan in this position. They go for Electro Drift. Rhydon absorbing that with the Lightning Rod. Miraidon probably choiced. They usually are. Terrasilize Rhydon here. And I'm down to just throw off a Rock Slide. And click Cosmic Power. Miraidon just going for the Electro Drift again, but doesn't matter. Rhydon not a ground type, but that's still not doing any damage. Take Ivy Cudgel pretty nicely. Rock Slide knocks out Ogre Pawn. Miraidon still stuck on the field, locked into Electro Drift in a position where that move is absolutely useless. And finally, we get to see what the Rhydon can do, and that's going to do it for my trial of this team. It was a tricky one to figure out, but I have in the end had a lot of fun here. I still probably wouldn't take it to a regional, but huge props to the player who did. And by all means, check this team out if you want to see what Rhydon, Glastrier, and Eternatus can do yourself.